Well, hello everybody. Welcome to a sudden and surprise video for Kane's Armory. I wanted to stop for a moment and talk about some tools of mine. These are most of my hammers. The reason why I wanted to talk about these is because hammers can be used for a lot of different things, and you probably use them for a lot of different things as the multi-purpose tool of the ages. From opening jars of pickles to making sounds. They could do just about anything, right? Well, these hammers all have a unique purpose that I think that we should talk about today, as makes a good video, a little bit of educational, a little bit of instructional, and I'll show you what I'm going to be doing. Before we get to that, it's time for financial begging. If you want this to go further, you like what I'm doing, share it. Like it. That's all I need from you. So today, I am going to go over these hammers. This hammer is your traditional hammer. You should know it very well. You should have seen it everywhere. It is the iconic hammer. It is shaking like it's talking. That is there for scale. This is probably a 2-pound hammer-ish. Lightweight, durable hammer. Most hammers are rated by their weight because when you strike something and it impacts, that weight is doing the work for you, so that you don't use your arm as the force delivery. The weight of the hammer is that for you instead. And that's the trick to all hammers. You don't strike hard, you let the weight of the hammer head do the work for you. This one is probably my most versatile hammer. It is a polyurethane hammer, I think. Anyway, I use it for pounding leather, rivets, snaps, etc. It's basically there for a punch tool. This is one that I made before I got this hammer. It is the same thing. You can see I've used it quite a bit. It's got 2 heads on there, and it's not a fancy hammer. It is literally one that I made. And this is the heavier of the two, made out of a 4x4 that, well, serves the same purpose. I just drilled it out, put a handle on it. It is now a hammer. Now, what I use this one for, this is my really cheap and shoddy joiner hammer, or just a big hammer to hit stuff with. Now, these aside, these hammers are the unique ones, separate from everything else. This one is the smallest of its kind. It's called a Ball Pein, P-I-E-N, hammer. Has a flat side, has a round side. Not to be confused with a chasing hammer, with its unique flat side and round side. So joking aside, what is the difference between a ball peen and a chasing hammer? It is how you use it. Since basically they have the exact same form, they could do the exact same thing. Well, as you can see, this one has more mass to it. This one has less mass to it. This is a 1.5 ounce chasing hammer. This is a 4 ounce ball peen hammer. And it is probably the smallest that I can get in this style. I got it specifically for the size of that rounded head. What you would use this for, steel. You would use it to fix dents in your car door. Usually there's a buck that's placed behind it so the flat end can make something flat and the round end can chase away some of the larger ridges. That brings us to the chasing hammer. This chasing hammer does the exact same thing, but for smaller materials. Or I'm sorry, not smaller materials, softer materials. I use it on brass and aluminum. Being much lighter, you can imagine that you could use it a lot longer and a lot quicker than I could the heavier one. So when you use a hammer like this, the motion is very simple, up and down, right? Notice that bulbous area. To hold it with your hand and use it like this. I know, it's obscene. Bear with me. But the whole context for using these round ends hammers, both the ball peen and the chasing hammer, is to let the material bounce and push the hammerhead back up so you don't have to use your arm strength and wear it out early. Today's project is actually texturing foam. This is my foam. This is a 1 millimeter thin piece of foam. Why I have this wood piece right here. So these hammers are going to be used to texture the foam. Different hammer heads will have different textures. Larger round divots, smaller round divots. And instead of using the flat end of either of these hammers, which could put a scar on the material, I'm using this softer jeweler's hammer. As you can see, it's got the rubber tips on there, which won't wound the material as badly, I should say. When I say scar, I mean it has the potential to break through the material, cutting it with the force of the blow. This one probably won't be as bad, but it still has that potential, and I don't want to risk it. There is one other version of this, and that is one with a rounded head. I was thinking about buying one of those for this project, but I declined because I thought this would do just fine. I will give a sound warning. There is potentially a lot of sound. I will edit that out to the best of my ability. And with that, you've been warned. I'm going to get to hammering. Nice close-up, and there's what I was talking about, scarring. That was really close. Anyway, I could feel it. It's got a little bit of a ripple to it. It's not what I want, but this texture is what I want. And what is this going to be? Well, I'm going to take this and paint it gold, and it's going to be the outside rings for the Lost Boys blood wine bottle. In order to do that, I have to go from there to there, from there to there, and cover this whole thing with hammer marks. You can see how quickly I did all this with. That's roughly the size of my hand. It did not take that much work. I think I am going to strive for a few more whacks in there. And that should about do it. And then when I texture this and paint it, or sorry, after I'm done texturing it and I paint it, all of those should come out and look like, well, hammer divots, because I used actual hammers. All right, that was another video of Kane's Armory. It should have an echo after I say that, shouldn't it? Well, My goal currently has changed from what it was, and what I'm trying to do right now is build up a better fan base before I start asking for monetary gifts. Monetary gifts being Patreon. So my Patreon has gone back down to 0 users, most appropriately because I didn't have a lot, but a few who did support me were some very good friends of mine, and they supported the heck out of me, and I reached out and thanked them independently and personally. Because sometimes what little they gave got me through a week of hardships, which has happened. So what I'm going to do now is be a little more reasonable with my expectations. Funny to say that because I didn't think I was being unreasonable, but, you know, new thing for me. So let the gray beard show you that not everyone is wise at the get-go. Well, I am going to ask you to like, subscribe, follow. Check me out on Facebook. Check me out on Instagram. And I promise not to flood you with multiple messages a day. Barely one a month. And I'll show you how to make stuff. You can reach out to me and ask me questions, and I will make a video like this about it. Show you some nifty tricks. Show you some things that maybe you didn't think of. I just thought of something else. Remember this hammer? Yeah, you saw me do things with it. I bet you didn't know it could do this. Yeah, it is a universal. It is a interchangeable mount, and you'll see hammers with that. It just simply screws in. You'll see hammers with this, and you can get interchangeable textured heads with a hammer. You sell them on Amazon. I'll give a link when I find one. I'm not endorsing it. I'm just showing it as an example. So if you want specific textures, cross thatch or alligator style or whatever, they have textures that you can go get and put on your hammer and smash away. Soft foams like this are great for experimentation with those hammers. Extra tips. Literally. All right. Hey, guys, thanks for watching the video. Those who subscribed and saw this come up on your notification, thanks. Actually, really, I don't know what I expected out of my YouTube channel. It is not big. It is not amazing. And I do not make high-budget videos. That is a goal, to make high-budget videos. But as you can imagine, that takes time and money, neither of which I have abundances of. Well, here we are. Follow me, like me, share me, talk about me, let it pop up, and I promise you, more of these will come up. Which reminds me, I have a promise to keep. Well, not those promises, because there's a lot of promises I have to keep. A specific promise. I made a video about metallic paints, and that is a popular subject, come to find out. I made the video with the intentions of trying to answer some questions about what a good metallic paint would be. And it seems to have generated more questions than answers, probably because I had a specific goal in mind and I went with that. Well, your goal will be different. And I'm going to give you the short answer of what type of metallic paint is best for you. That is the one for your project. That is not an answer, but that is the best answer. And the reason for that being another video. I'll get that one later. You guys have a great time. It's getting cold in this late February. That's why I want the jacket. Oh, in Texas.